I think part of it was just, honestly, it was just pure rush. Because if I thought about it at the time, and the level of boldness that I had at that time was a level of boldness that I needed to carry on my life. But I think like right now that I have a bit more responsibility, I'm more calculative. I'm sure you understand what right?
Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Benja, and of course this is another episode of Benja Live. And on Benja Live, you all know we talk to people, who are specialists in different things, different aspects, and different fields of life. We bring them here, ask them a few questions that could help you who's watching, that could help you move from point A to point B of your career. And of course, that's our main priority right here on Debate Your Life. And so today we have someone who is very special, I can say. We had a signed an agreement in the past with him where he failed his own part of the bargain. He didn't meet up the agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, with me I have ARREY. He is a social media entrepreneur. He's an author. He's a communication expert, and he's someone who's been on name the platforms you can imagine worldwide. And presently, it's an honor for us to have him right here on Debate Your Life. So we'll be talking about social media, entrepreneurship, and a whole lot of others, including activism as a young Cameroonian living out of Cameroon. ARREY, welcome, Baba.
Thank you, Divanja. Super excited to be here, and thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
So before we go forward, why did you back out of our agreement? We kind of had an agreement to say, you know what? So a few years back, we said, you know, in 1 or 2 years' time, we all want to be married, and all that. But these days, it seems like I kept the part of the bargain, but you did not. Why, bro?
I'm coming. I'm waiting for you guys to write the book. Once you guys have gotten married, you, Joybird, and everybody else, as you have gotten married, we're waiting for you guys to write the book, and then I'll use that as a blueprint. That way I don't have to fail anyway.
Yeah, it means you're going to wait for a very long time.
But I love marriage. I absolutely adore it. I feel that it's one of those things that so my parents, a little backstory, my parents have been married for over 40 years right now. I'm the fourth of 6 children, and I have watched those two people support each other every single way, all the way. And for me, it's such a sacred covenant, and I know that when I do it, there is no turning back. So I'm really looking forward to that. Being like you one day.
So, you are one of those young Cameroonians that I so much admire with your work. There are people who just talk, and then there are those people who not say anything. People who will not blow their trumpets, but you just see the blueprints, like you said, of what they have done over time. You see the growth. I remember when you started ARREY. Yeah, I've seen you walk from one step of your journey to another, to where you are at this point, the point where you went on BBC, CNN, and all that, all these global platforms where you had the opportunity to be on these platforms to share the light on what you do. If you look back at your career, if you look back at your life, and when you started your platform, the baby that you had at that time, up to now, what can you say about that journey?
I would say that a bit of luck, a bit of hard work, a bit of being very dedicated. I hate not knowing, so which means that I'm always in the process of finding new knowledge. And I wouldn't say there's one thing responsible for that. It's just a bit of everything. At the point where there was the crisis, which started at a point where everybody thought that it was, okay, now there are gunshots around Cameroon, let's stay at home. Let's see if we can find a way to just be safe. I thought about the opportunity of people are indoors, which means that they actually want to look for a responsible and a professional area where they can read information and know about what's happening in different areas. And so because I had a network of journalists, and then I was studying journalism at the time. By the way, I was still in my second year of the university. I decided, why not? I already have some of this experience. I was writing for newspapers. Why do I not just take this experience and start to share stories around the same crisis that is keeping people locked in? So while people were staying at home, just to be safe, I decided to stay at home, but use that crisis as an opportunity to build a brand and start to share knowledge. So I actually started by just writing stuff and sharing on WhatsApp on what was happening. And then later I was like, oh, why don't I just create a WordPress website and see how this goes? Created that. I think within 7 months, I started getting 30 to 50,000 readers, again, because there was a market for that. And that kind of led to the transition of me not just building the website or the news platform. 7 months later, I was nominated among the top 5 in Cameroon. And then later on transitioned again. I saw the opportunity because When I started getting 30 to 50,000 readers, I wrote to business owners and say, hey, my name is ARREY. You don't know me, but I run a
Yeah.
blogging platform and we're getting 30 to 50,000 readers. Do you mind placing a banner ad on our website so you could advertise and let people know about your business? That gave me the opportunity to start working with business owners. When I started to work with business owners, and it reached at a point where blogging was not necessarily en vogue, especially, and I'm not bashing bloggers, but especially continuing to use websites. You need to know
Yeah.
when an era is getting out. And you need to know when, for example, right now, the blogging thing is on Facebook. Facebook, there are bloggers who have Facebook pages and do not have websites. They don't even freaking know how to manage WordPress websites, which is still okay because that's the era. But at that time, I needed to understand the era of, okay, trying to get money from AdSense was over. And so the idea for me was transition this into a marketing agency so that now, because I'd already had some network of business owners, I would start offering marketing services. And so I went to learn how to do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, how to build sales funnels, email marketing. And that's how I transitioned the business, not just blogging, but into someone actually running a business. And yeah, so if you ask me, all of these things, what really led me to this journey is just a bit of everything. Luck, I saw the opportunity of the crisis, but I also was learning, I was evolving, I was understanding when time is out, when you have to make the next move. So it's a bit
Yeah.
of everything. And I think that if you genuinely, with the way that I've come to understand life, if you genuinely put in your best and you're really working hard towards something, even if you don't hit that goal, one thing will lead to another and you'd see yourself falling higher than where you aim to be.
You talked about the crisis. The crisis came as an opportunity for you to, and you started at that time where people were at home. There was a lockdown, and everybody was at home. And it's also a very risky era for you to start something like that, based on the fact that when we know how the media platform in Cameroon is like, there's a whole lot of scrutiny around the media, especially when you're reporting on particular things. Uh, are you, as a young person, starting a platform that talks about the things that are going on in the country, if share the crisis where the country, I remember one time there was shutdown of internet where they are constantly trying to suppress that to make it not to get out into the globe, to the rest of the world. So what was going on in your head at that time? Not being scared of the whole thing that was going on. A young man yourself, fresh out of school, fresh in school with the odd thing that you had, and you were still going through all the odds to do that. What was your biggest motivation? Because I mean, so many people will be scared at that time to do that. 2016, 17, 18. People will be scared to talk about anything that concerns the crisis, especially when you were in Cameroon at that time.
I think part of it was just, honestly, it was just pure rush. Because if I thought about it at the time, and the level of boldness that I had at that time was a level of boldness that I needed to carry on my life. But I think like right now that I have a bit more responsibility, I'm more calculative. I'm sure you understand what I, right? And, but as God will have it, that level of rush gets you
Yeah.
through that moment.
Yeah.
So at the time, for me, it was just, I needed to report the stories. And so I started to build systems around my life. For example, I kept a very, very private life. Go for all my friends, they will be boya. If you count 5, not up to 5 of them actually knew where I lived, because I wanted to just always keep that private space. And then I started to be a bit less seen in maybe events and other major things. And the whole thing of just reporting, genuinely, especially studying from the journalism, the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in Boya,
Yeah.
I really, really wanted to tell the stories. I'd stake my life for it. So I decided I was going to report most of these things at any cost. And honestly, it came with a cost. Now, this is an exclusive. I've never said this anywhere, but I've published a story actively in politics. And I had a senator pick up the phone and ring me. I'm not joking about this. Actually, the person is still a senator right now. Hey, what you just published, are you sure about it? Where did you get this story? Where did you get this fact? I've had somebody, the chairman of a very popular party in Cameroon,
Yeah.
pick up the phone and ring me. I saw you just published this story. Are you sure about this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And then it goes a big back and forth, and they ask you to watch your back. So all of those things, they do happen, but I want to believe that they were kind of a bit of a stepping stone,
Yeah.
and the rush that I had in that moment was responsible for the things that I did. If I had to do it right now, I would be a bit different. I would do it a bit different. I'd take another approach. Doesn't mean I'll tone down on the reporting, but I would just take a different approach and be more calculative with other things.
You talked about events. Honestly, I'm going to say thank you very much for you. You gave me the opportunity on your platform, AB Afripreneur,
Yeah,
to host the red
the
carpet
MC.
and to do the MC thing and all that. And so it was one thing about your growth is the fact that you've not just grown as a person, as an individual. Almost every person around you has had something to benefit from. B Media has had something to benefit from, and that is, for me, that is even bigger than where you find yourself. Because I always tell people, it's not about growth. It's not about you as a person growing. It's about everything around you. How fertile you are, that you could be able to pull the things, to be fertilize the things that the other people around you and other projects around you to be able to grow. And so I have never said this because it's been a long time since we last saw. Thank you very much for the opportunity. The opportunity made me at the time where we are all looking for avenues where we could put our talent out there. And then you gave me that platform. I hosted this event, meet these people, talk to these people, create these connections. And so it was a great moment for me. So thank you for that.
For sure.
So at the time where you left from just someone who had a small blog in Cameroon, reporting on the activities in Cameroon, to be sitting on a global platform like the BBC and the rest, and your opinion, they're asking your opinion about stuff, about certain things, about very important topics. You're looking at you at that point in time as a person of resource, as a resourceful person who they can ask certain things at that point in time. When you sat at that platform and those global platforms, and you looked about yourself, you look at ARREY back in Boya, probably in your small room, who started this whole thing and reporting and all that. How was that moment for you? Like, did you say, "Mama made it"?
Absolutely. I think I felt like, if I'm honest, I've still not processed some of those thoughts right up to this moment, because
Wow.
sometimes, and I'm sure you understand this, because when you are a high achiever and you hit one milestone,
Yeah.
sometimes you're thinking about the next,
The
and it's
next.
already not necessarily, I've made it. Instead, the "I made it" moment for me is right now, when I go, wow, like, I've been on the BBC, like, I got invited here, like, I got invited here. But during that time, I remember even the days of backstory, how I actually got to be invited on the BBC. So we went into the BBC when I was in London. I spoke to somebody. I attended an event, and then one of these guys spoke at the event. So I was like, oh, well, he mentioned Cameroon in his presentation. I was like, hey. After the event, I went up to him and introduced myself. Hey, my name is ARREY. Actually, one of the things you talked about in your presentation, I am from Cameroon, and I promise you I've experienced this 100%. By the way, I'm in London for the next couple of days. Just thought I'd shake your hand and say, hey, let me introduce myself. And by the way, if you'd love, I'm more than happy for me to come around and you show me around the BBC. It's like, oh, ARREY, cool. Okay, let me have your number. Let's exchange contacts. At the time, the guy worked for the forensics. He did a lot of forensics for the BBC. So he invited me over and I went in. So he was showing me around. And I said, hey, show me what's the Africa set. Let me go introduce myself to them. So I went to Sophie Kenya, who was presenter. Hey, my name is ARREY. I'm a journalist from Cameroon. And by the way, I just thought that you're doing a phenomenal job. Just thought I'd come and shake your hand and introduce myself. And this is what I do. And if you like to walk me around and just give me a little view around it. And imagine how tiny I was, how just trying to do my thing and create those connections. And so when I had this I literally just had a view around, had a tour, worked on something. Honestly, this is a scope. I was working on a story, and my whole intention was going to be to go for an undercover for the BBC. And I already had my pitch ready. I needed to do something in camera. I absolutely wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And that ended up didn't work, to be honest, because I pitched and they were like, that's too risky. If you go in, we're not sure that you're going to come out alive.
Yeah.
It was such a risky thing. But it just so happened that the connection that we built a couple, I think, months later, and they picked up the phone and rang me. Hey, ARREY, we've just seen this has happened and would love to speak to you. When they actually sent the email, I thought that it was like a false email or something, until she came to Messenger and then wrote to me. It's like, geez, okay, ARREY, can you send me a number? Let me call you immediately. We spoke on call, and then I was like, oh, okay, by the way, actually, you're talking right now, I'm in the UK. Do you want me to just pop into the studio? So we do this. No need to have this virtual. She's like, wow, ARREY, so you're in the UK. I'm like, yeah, I came in to do a couple of things, but I have 3 days left. How about
Yeah.
tomorrow? I said, good. I'm good for tomorrow. So give me time. Let's see how to go stuff. And that's how I took a train straight, popped in on the baby.
I mean, being ready at the right time, the right
Thank you.
opportunity, you all aligned, right? It all makes sense. And then the audacity for you to be in an event from Cameroon, and you're in this world, which is another dimension. Like, the way things roll here is different. It's a different stage. And then you see this man on stage talking, you just walk up to him and talk to him. Next minute, you're on the BBC talking to asking for the African section, and then all of that is because, like you mentioned at the beginning, the audacity that you had at that time, you say, you know what, I'm going to brave all the odds to report on these things, until it continue with you. So you need to have that thing in you. And I would say that is one of the things that have really, really helped in your journey, because you know how to walk up to opportunities. You know how to be ready for opportunities. I want to meet you. you are ready for it. If you look at yourself and everything you've achieved, and then you could be able to talk to some young person in Cameroon. Before we get to that, right? What is your observation about, you talked about the fact that blogging has moved from what it used to be, like websites, SEOs and all that, into what most people are doing now, social media like Facebook and the rest. If you look at the change, the switch from that to now, what's your observation basically about it? Has it improved? Has it depreciated? Has it lost its value and all that? How can you see the blogging scene right?
So if I look at the blogging landscape, because right now I'm currently monetizing a couple of young bloggers, and I see them, instead of building websites, building Facebook pages, and that's okay because the blogging has evolved. So instead of people running towards websites right now, they want to run pages, they want to get monetized, and that's fine. I think that it is just an evolution. The other thing that I like is that it has just been able to, it has lowered the barrier to entry. I mean, that right now we have many more people who call themselves bloggers, but we have lesser people actually earning from it.
Yeah.
So which means you need to have the knowledge to literally get in and really earn from it. And which is also good because not everybody gets to just earn from blogging. The other thing is I love the fact that, especially on the political scene of it, it has taken power from the hands of the government media and put into the hands of citizens. So which means that if you and I start a platform right now, we're dedicated to it. In the next 1 or 2 years, we should be building something. And that way we have a voice. Now we can tell our own stories. We can have our own narratives. We can start to tell what is happening from the perspective of Dibenja, from the perspective of ARREY, and we don't have to wait for CRTV to tell us that Biya is the best leader for Cameroon, when you and I know that, honestly.
Yeah.
We need a change.
Yeah.
And I think I love that aspect of it. And you can tell even just from the elections of this year, you can see that you saw what the work that Auntie Felicia did, Nyanga Sandra, all of these other people.
Yeah.
Mimi Mefo, you see how they use the individual platform. But think about this 10 years ago. CRTV would boil down the narrative and tell you that everybody is voting for Paul Biya. Is everybody though?
Nah.
Right.
So I'm happy that you mentioned about the whole political landscape in Cameroon right now, especially with just they just ended elections. What can you say? You made mention of it already about how much youth are participating. But if you look at years back and now, what the difference is aside the blogging, the platforms that we have, do you see any change in terms of youth's participation when it comes to the political scene in Cameroon? Do you see any progress? Do you see any change? And then for you, do you see that in the future? Your post that you made a post that was going viral about the whole thing. You talked about the fact that it's definitely going to happen like this. They are going to definitely give
And it did happen.
the thing. It didn't happen like that. So you honest people who said it like that, though it's something that most people do not want to hear the fact that, okay, why are you saying that? Maybe probably it might be different this year, but you have been covering a lot of events around the political scene in Cameroon ever since you started your career, until you understand how it functions and how it works. So when you look at the participation of youth right now in politics as compared to the past, do you see a progress? Do you see that the future is bright in that aspect, or what's your observation on that?
I think that the participation of youth right now in the elections is very, very helpful. It's just from a personal standpoint, people might call me a pessimist, but I think that we need a lot more. And quite unfortunately, because of the way that our system is formed, and people will still not agree with me. I'm okay with you not agreeing with me, but I'm saying this from an inside perspective of at least someone that has been privy to certain information, understanding how system works. It's not necessarily the youth. It's not necessarily that participation that will change things, because we've seen that, right? From the days of, look at it, man, like, again, we're not talking about politics. Look at it from the days of Nijon Frundi. Nijon Frundi wins election. What happens? There is riot. People do this. Probably you're not the one who is supposed to be on the chair, but Nijon Frundi has won. And then there is riots. People go to the streets 1, 2, 3. 3 weeks later, what happens? Everybody goes back to life and normal.
Yeah.
That was probably 1998 or 90, something like that, 1992. Now, 2018. I can tell you, because 2018, I've never said this on any interview, but I literally worked with Barrister Akeremona in the 2018 presidential election. I traveled with him to every single city where he did his presidential campaigns, right up to the meeting at the time where, so he had his final meeting with Maurice Kamto in Maroa, just a few days before elections, where they were announcing their coalition. We were literally in Maroa at the time. So we were downstairs and they were having their final meeting upstairs, and later in the evening, they announced their coalition. In fact, when Maurice Kamto lost and filed a petition in the Constitutional Council, and Akeremona was going to defend him, I was one of the 5 people who left the house with Akeremona and headed to the Constitutional Council. if you take a look at some of his photos at the times, just at the time, because there was also the uprising around Cameroon,
Yeah.
around the English-speaking regions. I didn't want to put my face behind it because, again, sometimes you get threats, you get the Amazonians and the rest, they'll call you, blah, blah, and the rest. But I literally walked, and that gave me so much opportunity to see the system for what it was, to understand, and I'm sorry to say this, even some of our very big politicians that we hear outside there, having very good ties with ministers, you would be most surprised. I promise you, you will surprised if they name you some of the men, and they would bash me for this. But some of you are very, very big, even the people who are posting all the big grammar, I condemn, I do this, all of the stuff. Some of them are very close to the government ministers, and they share funds. So if you ask me, I think that the youth participation is very important. It helps because it creates a bit more awareness. Now people have a voice. Now people understand that they can go to the ballot. But there is supposed to be a more radical action. And if you ask me what a radical action is, I don't know. I just think that something else has to happen for Cameroon to change. It's not necessary. The youths will have to have a part to play, but that might be after the change has happened. That's my opinion. So yes, let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing what we're doing. The youth will have a part to play. It's not bad. I wouldn't bash that. Everybody being involved is so good. But come on. It's just like people, and look at it, when Maurice Kamto won the elections, they said, hey, somebody has been a minister under Bia's government. You understand how he came prepared. Now he's not any kind of person that Bia can toss around. What happened? They played their cards very well. You're fighting an age-old system that has built so many other heads who are even now benefiting for themselves and don't even want the very poor Bia who is very tired to leave. So, and it's the same. When I posted about it, I said, Pobia will be declared winner. And when Pobia is declared winner, there's going to be a uprising. You guys think that, yes, Chiruma is going to be this, he's going to, people go, he's an insider. Yes, no, you don't fight the system just that way.
You're not talking to people like myself, because I believe so much. I believe so much in the fact that, when you are desperate for change, right? I did a video. I've done a couple of videos talking about criticizing Chiruma, especially when he has to do the Anglophone crisis, criticizing him so much in so many videos leading to the elections. But then when I came to look at all the candidates that were going in for the elections, I looked at this one. I see their ties to this part of the government. I see their ties. I see the reason why they cannot be a strong opposition. And then I get to start studying the Chiruma movement. And then I tell myself, okay, since we're looking for a change, if this man could be that person,
what do you think? I'm curious. What do you think about Chiruma?
Right now, I would say my support was not really for Chiruma. It was for the movement, because we all want change, right? If we could rally ourselves together and put it under one person that we think that this person, because okay, I've seen Chiruma has gone against Bia's government in the past, but it was where he was accused to be part of those who were plotting a coup against the Bia government back in the day, and they were one of those Aijo loyalists back in the day. And so I think that spirits like that don't die. So I think that spirits like that, no matter how long you try to suppress it, whatever you're suppressing it, they don't die. They still live inside you. He might be weak, right? Chuma might be weak. He's an old man, and he might be weak. But I seriously think that for real, he was an opposition, and I think that if I don't know, but I believed in the movement, not the person as a person, but I believed in the movement, that because he talked about a 3 years a transitional government. And so I believed in that, to say, okay.
Which I honestly doubt if it will happen.
When you're desperate, right, you start thinking about that. You start saying, okay, if this is talking about a 3 year transitional government, then why don't we try this? Because for 53 years, we have seen this same thing. And if we say, okay, because we don't trust Yuma, we don't trust the movement, we just remain this. Now, these are not 7 years. We're going to, it will be 50 years in 7 years. My first child will be 18 or 19. So imagine. So yeah.
I think that, so when I look at Chiruma, I have quite done a lot of work around politics and writing politics, and I've covered several stories where you can. Hansen has the famous interview. How can you say that? And if you understand the background of even that question, how can you say that? How can you say that was because Hansen was asking Chiruma, but the military is also shooting the civilians, so let them stop shooting. And then Chiruma goes, how can you say that? The military does not shoot. But we all have seen it. We've gone to the streets covering news, and we've watched the military shoot down people. And if I think about it, the same when the Anglophone crisis started, the same Chiruma had said that there is no Anglophone crisis. The same Chiruma, even at the time, so I had one of a friend, I will not call him, I don't know how much of this is out there, but there was a time he did a story for The Post, and he was uncovering mass graves. If anyone wants to search this, go and check The Post, uncovering mass graves. Now, that was an investigative story where, if you read that story, it was talking about there had been, at the time where the shootings and all of the uproar was really high, there were mass graves that were being dug at the outskirts of my 16 and other places, where if they kill you, they just go and dump it there. I promise you, the very trauma guy went out there and said all of these things are not happening. And for me, if I think about that and I hold you here, and I also see, if I look at these things, I'm asking myself, what has changed? So is it because you're trying to run in for president that you have decided right now and gone, yeah, I'm sorry for all of those things? And then you hear some of the people say, but he's the only person. He's the only person that has come and openly apologized. Come on, why wouldn't he apologize?
He's running. He's
Why
running
wouldn't he
for election, so he
apologize?
will definitely apologize.
Why would
So
he apologize?
one person who also helped, you made mention of Hansi. One person a group of people who also helped make a lot of people say, okay, we're going to go for this Chuma movement is a Mimi and a Hansi. These are people who were under a lot of pressure from the government when this whole Anglophone crisis was started. Mimi had to run. Hansi, the same thing, because of how much pressure was coming from the government. They all were working at Equinox at that time. And so you see people like this who were one of the highest people were affected because of this crisis as media personalities. And you see them at the helm of Chiruma's campaign. And then you're asking yourself, I
totally understand it, right? And these are very close people to me that we would talk with. Here's the thing, I respect their opinion.
Yeah.
You get the point? And I respect Mimi for her work. And if she has chosen, if she has decided to support Chiruma, I have nothing against her. I won't support Chiruma.
What I'm saying is that their platforms also helped generate a lot of Anglophone love, Anglophone Cameroonian love for Chiruma. Because people are like, if Mimi and Hansi could support these people, this guy, it means that he has something genuine in the background. Because he's a journalist, they must have had a conversation, they must have seen the bigger picture in the background. And so they believe that it's going to happen. Because we might not know how much of influence a platform like Mimi's have.
Of course.
Because there's sometimes when if I want to get news, anything, anywhere, even when I was in Cameroon, I want to get news or something, I would watch to Mimi's platform because I respect their platform so much. And so when people who respect this platform see that, they'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe these guys have had a conversation in the background and they understand. Because Mimi practically kickstarted Issa Chiruma's campaign in Anglophone Cameroon. And so so many people believe the fact that this is it. This man is genuine at this point in time. But is he politicians? That's why I say I'm not supporting that Chiruma. I'm just supporting the fact that I don't want to keep living under the BR government. I want to live under something different. And if you say you put Chiruma and say, no, I can never pick Chiruma. Never in my life.
If for anything, I think the Cameroonians should go and study Chiruma's rise to opposition.
Yeah.
At least if you don't support him, I mean, of course, I don't support Chiruma. I've said that clearly via my post. And people would talk and go, you don't understand the political landscape. By the way, I'm okay with you expressing your opinions and I expressing my own because I know that your opinion is based on where you're standing. Mine is based on where I'm standing. I will not bash you for it. But if there should be something good to pick up from Chiruma, go and study his rise to it, like the way he used the media. How can it just illustrates one thing. People are consistently inconsistent with themselves. Because how does somebody say something 3 years ago, 5 years ago that hurts you so bad that you run to the streets and you protest against it and you go, this person is trying to kill us. And then 5 years later, he goes, I'm so sorry for the things that I said. I'm trying to do a new, fresh start. And people go, that's my president. So again, it's just you have
one thing about Chiruma knows how to manipulate the media. Trust me.
He's a good talker.
I think he has been the best field when it comes to media communication in Cameroon. He has been one of the best ministers. Honestly, I'll tell you. Yes,
we have news every day.
Because he is one minister in Cameroon who was really a square peg in a square hole. Because he understands communication so well. He knows how to use words. He knows words play. Sometimes I listen to Issa Chiruma, I'm like, I know for sure that this guy is lying. You know for sure that this is what he's doing. But you're so convinced. And I think yourself, like, as a communicator, I say, no, this man, he needs to be studied. You need to study Issa Chiruma's, like you said, his rise to the land and everything, because he's just good at communicating. And when he comes, he speaks English, and then people are like, whoa, yeah, that's it. We've never seen someone who speaks
wants to be president
and then is there. Exactly. So he knows exactly where to get that. He knows exactly where to get Cameroon.
One of his interviews, he says to me, "Did I tell you how I learned English? Did I tell you
Yeah.
how I learned English?" I go, "Wow, sir, you really understand. I mean, you and I know what we're doing, right?"
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, I'll give him that. He's smart and he knows how to use it. So
Anyway,
props to him.
away from politics, I mean, what does success mean to you? I mean, it's all this. What does success mean to you as a person?
I think that word evolves every single time. When I was just starting out, success meant get some food for yourself and make sure that you get 3 square meals a day.
Yeah.
That's about 6 years, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
As I grow and I evolve right now, success for me, and I'm sure you would understand what I mean by this. Success for me is rated by how much happiness I see in the people that I love that is caused from me. So let me put it this way. I'm no longer in the stage of my life where I'm trying to fight for food for myself. I'm okay.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
if I decide not to work today, I'm okay.
Yes.
I've broke bread for myself. I can have
Yeah.
some bread.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm no longer fighting for, I need bread, I need this, I need daily food, because at least that level is past, I find more fulfillment in knowing I can provide, I can cause some happiness in the people
In the
around me,
people
maybe
around
by
you.
giving out something, by serving them. And that's why I value so much, especially my friendships. I have a very close friend right now. Actually, as I'm speaking to you right now, he's actually downstairs with his wife and I'm upstairs. We live in the same building. We've lived in the same house. We've lived in the same house for the last 5 years or so. We actually lived in the same room and then moved out and then got apartments and then
Yeah.
now we live in the same building. For
Okay.
me, that is success, that I have somebody by 3 a.m. And he knows if that grand call me anytime by 3 a.m., I'm leaving this bed. I'm
Yeah.
showing up for him. So I think success is that for me, that I can provide for family, that I can provide for friends, that I can just even the time to provide for friends, because you need to be in a good place to be able to give that energy.
Yeah.
And that's success for me. Of course, I like to ride big cars. I like to.
You know, I always like to ask people this question because it means a different thing to different people. And so, if you look at your 15-year-old self, you look at the 15-year-old ARREY today, to everything you've achieved, to where you are now, what will you tell your 15-year self? What would be the message you tell your 15-year self? This is also like a message to someone who is 15 years right now, who is watching you right now, who is looking at life and thinking, where would I be in the next 15 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, where would I be? How would my life be like? So if you had to talk to the 15-year-old ARREY right now, what would you say to him?
That's such a good question. 3 words: keep growing, keep learning. These two shall pass.
Okay.
Keep learning, keep growing. These two
These
shall
two.
pass. Because I think about the times in my own personal life where I've been in some like very, very messy situations and I'm panicking and I'm deeply like, I'm asking myself like, Chai, God, if you just take me away from this situation, I promise I'll not even do this or that thing again. Like,
Yeah.
and then I realized, oh, 4 days later, it's like, oh wow, it's lesser now. I don't feel it so much.
Yeah.
Wow. 1 year later, wow, if this did not happen, then I wouldn't even be here. All right. So it means God was just trying to orchestrate all of these things to teach me a lesson and to evolve from it. So that's why I said, keep learning, keep growing, and then these too shall pass. And I think that if you solidify all of that, we having a strong background. For me,
Yeah.
faith is very important. I think it's one of the ways that I found myself to be very grounded. Some people will consider me to be a bit rough because they see my earrings and the rest, but I never miss church. I never miss serving in church. For the last, I don't know, 7 years, whether I travel to
Yeah.
every city, I'm looking for a church to be part of it. And
Yeah.
so keep learning, keep growing these two shall pass, and just find a spiritual backing. I think that helps a lot.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. Keep learning, keep going. This too shall pass. I think I'll tell myself that too. That's not just for a 15-year-old. I think anybody in life who is going through something, who is in one phase of their life, looking forward to go to the next phase of their life, would resonate with this. I did a video the other day. I was saying that I thought that one point in your life. I haven't published the video yet. I'm going to publish it. I don't know which is drop first, but I said that I thought that at one point in your life you are going to be you to understand that you are moved from one state to another. Like you see it visibly clear, but it
Mhm.
doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
You just see it probably in a 10-year span. You look back like it's already 10 years and you are trying to figure out the things that happen. So I was saying because this year my daughter turns 3 years in December and my son turns 11. So, I'm sitting the other day, I was recording and I was asking myself like, so this is 11 years since I had my son. So I'm trying to play like a rewind to see how 11 years of my life has been like. And then I thought that maybe after 1 year, you would understand, okay, this is what has happened in 1 year. After 2 years, but no, I did not. I just found myself 11 years after having an 11-year-old son and then probably having a 3-year-old daughter. And I'm saying, man, so this too shall pass. You will not even understand when it passed. You don't even know that you have moved from one level to another. But then you just have to keep working and keep learning, just like you said. So
Yeah.
one day it happens that way. Yeah.
I'm curious. If you were to give someone who's a young parent advice on raising kids, what would you say? Or what has your experience been like? Now, you don't want me to come from it from the perspective of as an experienced parent.
Yeah.
But let's say, because I know it's a process, everybody's growing, but what would you say has helped you through that journey? And what would you say is, if you look back even at your son right now and you go, I'm so happy that I instilled this in him?
I think because I haven't really spent a lot of my life with my son because I had my son really early until I was from one he practically grew up with my parents, his mom and all that while I was back in school. But then what makes me or what gives me that motivation as a parent, I think is from my dad, right? When I look at the way my dad how amazing of a father he was, the things that he instilled in us, right, as his kids, as his children. And I look at my children, I'll be like, I don't think that I just want them to have the bare minimum. I just want them to know to appreciate life for what life is. So I just take life every day as it comes because you see this parenting thing. What I understand, I also heard someone say this thing, and I also believe in what they said. This parenting thing, no one is experiencing it. You cannot have a particular model to say, okay, this is the right model to raise kids. This is the right model to be of an example to your children, because most times you might get you might sink yourself into the aspect of trying to be a good parent or trying to so hard to not to show this young human, this little human, some crazy part of your life. But then you miss how amazing just be normal, just being ordinary. Because I just be normal with my kids. Like I live with my kids like, okay, my daughter is like my kid's sister. My son is like my that's how I look at it from that point of view. So we are all experiencing life. We're all growing together, but
Yeah.
then guiding them towards what I think that some of the mistakes I made, I wouldn't want you to forward towards this. But I'm not saying it because I made this mistake. I'm gonna hammer on you. Or for
Yeah.
example, if I did English language in school, I'm gonna say no, the English language does not help me. You have to be a teacher, you have to be a doctor. No, we are just all together learning the life thing together and then understanding where they come from, their point of view about things, and then trying to build that. So
Do you see any difference in, I know it's your podcast, man, but I'm always just open to really just having a
let's do
conversation.
this. Let's do it.
Do you see any difference in maybe how your son grew up and how you're relating to your son and how you're
Yeah.
relating to your daughter?
Yeah, so I've spent for the past 3 years of my daughter's life, right? I've spent most of it with her, right? But the 3 years with her, so it's different from how my son. We've been spending holidays. We've been spending like visit weekends, holidays, and all that. So I've spent more time, but still I still feel that the connection with both of them. So when I'm talking to my son, it's almost like we've been living together. We know each other like that. He knows me. I know
Mm-hmm.
him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so the connection is still there. So
Yeah.
I said to someone one time when we were talking about absentee parents, I said, you must not be living in that same house with these people. You just have to create that connection and make sure that
Respect that.
this
Yeah.
child understand that the father is in their life. And so that's how it's been for my son and myself, because he's particularly been living with my mom, my parents, and his mom. So his mom and my mom, and so they've been living like that for the longest of time. But our relationship has stayed that way. Our relationship, he knows that this is my dad, and he knows that my dad is always present in my life. So when something comes up, they pick the phone and call me. This is what's up. I talk to him. They want me to talk to him. So he knows that I am there. I'm present in his life. So I still have the relationship with both of them on that level. Yeah.
That's really deep. For you to share that, man. I'm just curious because I think I'm getting to a new phase of my life that I'd like to explore all of that, and
Yeah. I
make
just think
sense.
you just like you said it a few minutes ago. Just keep learning, just keep going, and this too shall pass. So one day they are 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, 11 year old,
Mm-hmm.
15 years old. You don't even know how it happened. You don't even know when you got there. But just by making sure that everyone around you is happy, like you said, putting smile on their faces, and then the days keep going by and you're learning. I mean, parenting these days, I would say that it could be it's tougher than it was for our parents because of the set of children that we have these days. I mean, sometimes my daughter says some things. I'm like, at 2 years something, where did you learn the kind of words they use, the kind of, and then the experience, the reactions and everything. I don't know if that's how we used to do when we were kids, but I talk to my mom sometimes and then she's like, don't you know where that's coming from? That's exactly how you were when you were a kid. I'm like, no, this is not who I was when I was a kid. This is a different generation, and this generation is crazy. But then it's life experience. You just discover one time you're over that stage. You've gone to another stage of it. So that's just kind of
Exciting.
I mean, this is. I've always wanted us to have a conversation, have a chat like this, and so it's been an amazing time having a chat with you. If you had something else to say to any young media person out there, we've been in this for a long time, trying to put one or two things and trying to make sure that we contribute in our own way in the Cambodian media. So we're still doing it. Not like we've done it and then left it. We're still doing it. But then young people are coming up, new people are coming up. I get people reaching my inbox every day, asking me one or two advice. How did you do this? How did you do this? How can I get these contacts to when I talk to people? How do you do this? How do you do this show? And all this. If you were supposed to talk to someone out there, a young person who is getting into media, just a young person, what would be your few words of advice to them
So
about the
number one,
media?
I would say the very first thing is just find one thing that you really want to be good at. If you decide that you want to build Facebook pages, just decide to be as good as you can on that. And the second thing I would say is the moment you discover that, you need to dedicate at least a good number of hours to making sure you're honing down on their craft. The reason is because most of us tried a couple of things differently, tried this and failed. If we look at those things that we've tried and we put it together, we're like, oh wow, like if I really, really did add all of these hours combined into one thing, I
Into
should
one
have
thing.
been way further than right now. And the third thing I would say is just be open. The reason why I say be open is for lack of a better phrase. But if I think about that from my journey, when I started out blogging, so let me summarize it for you. I started out going to getting to university. I go to university. I'm like, let me study journalism and mass communication because I did not have anything else to do. At the time, I played music. So we used to go and jam. I'll play the bass guitar. My senior brother would play piano. We'd we'll go for gigs and get paid 1,000, 2,000. That's how I survived. The way that I started getting open to the journey is now I'm studying journalism and mass communication. Why don't I take these skills that I'm learning and start to write some things or maybe volunteer out there? So I picked up the phone. I went to this newspaper kiosk in Boya, Clark's Quarters in Boya. So I went there. I'm like, hey man, I was talking to the person, like, hey man, I'm sorry, I don't have money to buy newspapers, but would you allow me to just look into the middle of these newspapers so that I can write down the name of newspaper publishers? I write down 23 names and I come home and I start cold calling them. What's up, sir? Just wanted to say hi. My name is ARREY. You don't know me, but I'm a student in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. I actually realized you don't have some stories from Boya. If you would love, I would love to start contributing some of these stories. I could send in one story a week or maybe 2 stories per week, depending on what you want. Most of them said, cool, okay, if there's anything, we'll let you know. But one of them, which is actually of late now, he was a publisher of Camara Herald, Mr. Akko Kingsley. He called me and said, it's interesting that you're saying this. I actually need a writer, right? And so because of that, that's how I started writing. So it starts with me going to university and playing music. And then later on, I get fed up. I'm like, now let me start to practice this journalism.
Yeah.
And I went out, started writing for newspapers. When I started writing for newspapers, just to tell you how interesting this was, when the crisis starts, the newspaper shuts down. Now I'm back to almost square one. I'm thinking to myself, what do I do? Then again, being open to the journey, I decided, oh my God, I used to write these stories and send them to these newspapers. Why don't I take these stories and start publishing online?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I went online, went to YouTube, how to create a WordPress website. I created a WordPress website. Then I started publishing these stories. And comes back to the second thing that I said, that you have to dedicate some hours. I started publishing one article per day, sometimes 3. And the one promise I made to myself was, ARREY, you're going to publish 1,000 articles for the next 1,000 days. If this does not work out, blogging is not for you. You can change and find something else.
Yeah.
Guess how that happened? I published maybe the first, I wouldn't say that I honestly kept to that promise of publishing one every day. But if I miss one today, I'll publish 3 tomorrow. I'll publish 2 tomorrow and try to keep up. 7 months into the journey, got nominated amongst the top 5 in Cameroon. 1 year into it, 30 to 50,000 readers. Again, I started getting our businesses to advertise on the platform. That's exactly how I made the first million on the internet. I took a picture of it. And then I started thinking to myself, oh my God, right now it looks like this blogging thing is getting en vogue. What do I do? How do I evolve? Wow, let me learn digital marketing so I can properly offer these services to business owners. So I kind of ditched the blogging thing a little bit, still doing it, but doing digital marketing. Once again, I went back to YouTube, learned how to do Facebook ads. And it was the first time ever that I started to charge business owners 100,000 per month. So if I had about 5 businesses, I was making an extra 500K per month, literally still blogging. But now I'm charging 100 businesses 100K per month to run their Facebook ads and to manage their social media pages. And then how does that evolve? When I started doing that, at some point I realized, oh my God, I see other people out of the country doing it in large scale. I saw a guy at the time was like 23, making over $100,000 a month. I did what everybody needs to become good at doing. I think I saved up about 1 million. I'll never forget. I still recorded myself paying that money, and I paid for 20 hours of his time. It was a 20 hours course. I paid 1 million cash. I still have a recording. And literally, I think that was the first time I made the first 4 million in 1 month. It was the first time I made 4 million in 1 month as a result of doing that. And so if you look at the journey, fast forward right now, I'm working in marketing as well as doing all other stuff for clients. But if you think about it, all of that journey, I've just been open to what is happening in that journey. I didn't stop. I kept doing it, but I kept evolving with it, which is what I said, being open. So from the time where it's like, oh, just doing this. By the time I graduated in 2019, I have built ARREY Media. And funny story, fun fact, ARREY Media had gotten to a point where I could walk up to professors in my department and ask them to send me interns, but I had not graduated. And yes, they did send me interns. And yes, they did send me interns. I signed internship forms. I've not graduated. So before I graduated, I'd been featured on BBC. Before I graduated, I've been on the British Council's top 100 worldwide. Before I graduated, now I'm signing internship of my own departmental mates who are coming in. And then I was able to evolve that. So just being open to the journey and really just doing, and just find one thing, just dedicate a good number of hours to understanding it and then being open. That means that you continuously learn and evolve in the process. And I promise you, that's a hell of a story I've shared, but it would compound over time. I think that might be a cool story.
Thank you very much for sharing all of this. You've shared a lot on this podcast that I really think that anyone watching out here is going to really learn a lot from it. And young people who are getting into the media scene and trying to find their way around will really find this very resourceful. And so thank you very much for doing this for me, ARREY. I really appreciate for you to take out your time to do this. I know how much time means to everyone out here. And so for you to take out your time to do this with me this evening. And also, you made me talk about a lot of things. You interviewed me as well. So I can talk about a lot of things. So we're just having a session. This is not really, for me, I don't consider this platform like an interview platform. So that's why you could ask me questions, we could talk, we're having a conversation, I could talk about my experiences. This for me is just like a platform where we have a session, a conversation between each other, and then learn about our life, different life experiences and everything. And so thank you very much for being part of this journey.
Let's set it up. If you want me to come back and if you have an episode that is going to be about you, I'm happy to come back and interview you. I'll prepare my notes.
Okay.
And set it up.
Okay.
So those who are watching, by the way, if they want to drop comments of the things they want to know about MC Dibenja, I'm coming back as I will be guest host. I literally drill you and get a good interview out.
Okay, I'll go up into that. Let me gather the courage to see if I can interview. I can answer those questions first, because one of the hardest things that the few times I've ever gone to grant an interview, I've always put myself into trouble because I've always got to say things that it's very things that I know that which has to do with my time in the industry. So I would say a lot of things that I went one time to colleagues' platform and then I was like, so it was like almost a setup for me. It was like this question, this one. And I was just like, we are talking about it. And the next minute I was in trouble. So I have to get myself ready and to say, you know what, I'm going to talk about this one. I'm not going to talk about this one because if not, I'm going to spill all the tea. So thank you very much, ARREY. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here again to another episode with Dibenja Live. It's been an honor talking to media expert ARREY. And so, ARREY, when are we getting our next book? When is the next book dropping? I mean, you have.
Wow,
when's our next book dropping?
That's a good question. I'm actually in the process of writing a book, but I don't know when that will be released. I need to get married.
Event MCs, yeah, on discount level. We are doing our wedding. This coming it has to happen in 2026. Got 2025 is already finished. This is already November. So we have to do in 2026. It has to happen. My entire family is coming. We are coming.
That's if I told I'm not already married. We never know.
I mean, you keep your personal life very private. So it might be because this man, I don't trust you. One thing about you that you're supposed to do is how to keep your personal life private. So that about you is something that I really commend. Thank you guys so much for being there. My name is MC. I keep calling myself MC Dibenja all the time. My name is Dibenja, and I've been here with ARREY Media. See you guys. Please drop your comment and make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. Dibenja Live.
Thank you, bro, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a good one. I think we've laughed and we've ranted as well. So people would look at it to be rant. That's okay. Yeah, I appreciate
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Six Studios Network on YouTube. Subscribe to it to get more interviews like this weekly on here. Bye-bye, guys. See you guys next time.